Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle. We're starting round 2 of couples interviews. We're going to be doing that over the next 3 weeks. I'm actually really excited to roll some of these out for you. This one is actually the first one that I recorded a couple months ago, I guess. It's with Dr. Brenna Squires and her husband, Edmund Squires. They are out of Florida. We talk a lot about their relationship, how they make it work. They have been struggling with infertility. They are trying to figure out how to grow their family, and they haven't had a lot of luck, and they've been really at it and navigating how to do that emotionally, physically, spiritually. Faith is a big part of their journey, which is interesting to hear about. And we talk a little bit about how they do sex. I've often said that people who are struggling to have kids, they hate sex, but these guys offer a different kind of perspective, which was refreshing to hear about. I think you'll enjoy it. Interviews that are coming up later next week and the following week. I tell you what, man, they were very cool. I learned a ton, and I'm excited to share them with you. I want to continue to say thank you to those of you who are continuing to support us on Patreon and get a look behind the scenes. I am rolling out here in a little bit a bunch of little mini videos about some of my favorite go-to sort of stories or lessons. I found that in my counseling practice, I rely on a handful of sort of iconic or consistent anyway teaching stories that help me illustrate a point. And so I thought, I'm going to share those. So those will be behind the scenes at Patreon. If you're not yet a member over there, please go ahead and meet us at patreon.com/marriage therapy radio, or you can go through our regular site, marriagetherapyradio.com, and then there's a button for Patreon. Paid members will get a look behind the scenes, again, at some of the things that I share with clients on a pretty consistent basis. It was fun for me to make those videos and now to share them with you. And for the rest of you, I am excited to introduce you to Brenna Squires and her husband, Edmund Squires. This is a very cool conversation. Stick around. Tell me about you guys. You're in Tampa, and who are you? Just give us a quick cliff notes on Brenna, and it's Edmund, yeah?
Yep.
Right on.
Yes. So a little bit about us. We have been married for a little over 9 years. Mm-hmm. We met in Georgia. We met while I was doing my residency in psychology, and I am from Miami, Florida. So I came up to Georgia for my residency, and he was in Virginia. No, he was in Vermont. Yep. And he came down to Georgia for the military. So we kind of came from two ends of the East Coast, met in Georgia, fell in love. And that kind of just started.
How did you meet? Where did you meet?
Our love story.
Yeah, so we met in Bible study. So we ended up sitting next to each other, and I thought she was very pretty, so I started flirting a little bit.
Yeah.
We had a lot of conversation after that, and we actually stayed behind in the church for about an hour and a half until they kicked us out. And they're like, "Go on a date already." Yeah. So then we decided that
like
you know
the
what,
first date, like the first time, your first interaction, you lingered for an hour and a half.
Yeah. So we just had a good conversation at that point, and then from there we decided to go out on a date. We had some ice cream, and then we elevated to a nice dinner out at a hibachi grill. From there, we actually decided to just be friends for about 6 months, but we still kept our interactions going. And after that, I asked her to go out with me, and she said yes.
Right. How old were you at this point? You guys met when you're in your 20s, and you're I don't know how old
late
you are now.
20s, 20.
They got 27.
27, yeah.
So sort of latter half. Your brains are fully formed, and you meet each other. Did you have relationships before? Had you dated other people?
Yep. And I had actually been married and divorced before as well.
Okay.
So I had experienced the ups and downs of that.
And I wasn't in any really long-term serious relationships. At that time I was more focused on school and going through graduate school. And all of that, I didn't really have tons of time for long-term relationships. So by the time I met him, I had already finished all of the hard work of school, and now it's just kind of time to settle everything down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Brenna, effectively, Edmund is your first long-term relationship. Is that right?
Yes, romantic relationship. And that's kind of what I wanted it to be. Whenever I was thinking about marriage, I looked at dating as the precursor to marriage.
Mm.
And so I wouldn't date anybody if I didn't really feel like I wanted to marry them. And the way that I
Yeah.
knew that was just by having friendships with them. If I didn't really like you
Okay.
and what you did during friendships and how you acted with other people and your family and your friends, I thought this is not going to get any better.
Got
So
it. That's actually the question I was asking. So when you are first getting to know Edmund, how do you know? What are the clues or cues that you know that this guy's different than the ones that hadn't passed muster earlier on?
yeah, good question. So the way that I knew that he was different was the way that he spoke and the way that he interacted with me and with everybody. So he
Mm.
wasn't just treating me completely different. Well, he was treating me special and different, which made me feel nice. He was still kind, respectful, generous, courteous. He was still all of those things at a base level to everyone.
Mhm.
And his mom, his friends, um, and even people that we had just met, he was still kind, and you could tell that it wasn't a show. He
Yeah.
was um, genuinely kind. He genuinely wanted to do these things for other people, and so that's what made me think, oh, you're a little different because you're not putting on such a big facade.
Yeah. Well, and the opposite is a red flag too, right? Where you meet somebody and they're like so wonderful and you can't
Yeah.
believe how nice they are, and then they mistreat a waiter or something, and
Yes.
you're kind of like, what is going on there? Like that. And
Yes.
a lot of times we ignore those red flags because they are so wonderful to us, and so that's cool that you had at least that your barometer on there.
Yeah, well,
And
I
then
remember having that
yeah.
with a friend where I thought they were so nice and they were being respectful, and exactly what you said. They they were so rude to a waitress
Mm.
to the point where I thought, I don't even think I know you. That is so odd. And when I pointed it out, they doubled down on
Mm.
their frustration with it. And I thought, I don't even know if I want to be your friend anymore. And I'm pretty sure at that point, I was not as close with them anymore because it just kind of revealed where their heart was
Yeah.
in all things.
Yeah. And then Edmund, you'd been married before.
Mhm.
What do you
Yep.
know about how a marriage ends?
Oh, it feels like a death.
Huh.
It for me, I didn't think that we had gone that far apart to the point of divorce. But at the end, she actually came up to me, said, "I don't love you anymore," and then we decided on a divorce from there. Um, and it's just heartbreaking. It's heart wrenching. Thankfully, we didn't have any kids, so that wasn't an issue. But it definitely. I entered a mourning period after that, and
Hmm.
thankfully, I was able to find some good counseling to get over it. And from there, I was able to get stronger and become a better person and a better man, and learn from those mistakes. And really, I think that helped prepare myself for a good marriage, a good relationship with Brenna. And I think that learning better communication skills through that, because that was one of the problems. I just wasn't communicating properly. Um, Learning how to uh, uh, figure out how to share interests, figure out how to um, stand up for myself and for my spouse, figuring out how to just learn how to be a good team and work together and everything, rather than having an issue and seeing each other on either end of it. You need to view each other as together, and tackle that problem together. Even if you disagree on it, you need to figure out how to compromise and come together on how to overcome the obstacles that are in front of you. So
Mhm.
those are some of the biggest things that I learned from my previous marriage, and the failure of that, and how we've been able to be so successful in ours. Even though we've had a lot of struggles, even though we've had struggles of infertility and trying to overcome that, that has brought a lot of stress, but we've figured out how to really come together and really how to talk to each other and share how we're feeling, make each other feel safe in our conversations,
Mhm.
rather than be concerned or scared about sharing how we're feeling and possibly being berated or put down because of how we feel.
Mhm.
And it's been really nice because I never had that before, Brenna, where I feel safe sharing my true feelings, and it's been very freeing.
Hmm.
And I think that's made me a better man and a better husband. She's an excellent wife.
So there you are. You're sitting in the church, and you see this pretty girl, and you're like, "Hey, I want to talk to you." We talk for like an hour and a half. Then they're like, "You guys got to go. It's closing time. You don't have to go home. You can't stay here, right?" And then you kind of go back and forth around whether or not you're dating or whether or not you're friends, and you get back into it. How do you give yourself permission to kind of re-enter the dating, not dating, but like the marriage mentality? How do you do that given your failure? I'll borrow your word. I don't necessarily think the end of a marriage is a failure, but how do you do that for yourself?
Well, I never took marriage off the table after the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I realized it just wasn't the right person, and we conducted ourselves wrong within the marriage to actually make it work. So after that, I had always been looking for my next wife and my final wife. And so I always had that mindset to find someone that I wanted to connect with forever. And as I was looking out, Brenda just stood out from amongst everybody because of how she carried herself, how she presented herself. She dressed well. And to me, that was nice because I wanted someone that knew how to take care of themselves, knew how to style themselves in a way that they showed that they cared about themselves and that they had some self-security and had a lot of their life figured out so that we could really have a good starting point to move forward. So I hadn't really been looking hardcore for a wife when I saw Brenna. I was just kind of lightly looking, but when I did see her, it sparked something in my soul.
Right on.
Where I was just ready to start pursuing her and go after her. And then we had some long conversations after our second date, where I opened up to her about my history and trying to let her know who I was. Because this is after, I think, 2 weeks of knowing each other. And I'm like, I don't want to waste time. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Do you like me?
Yeah.
So we really opened up to each other and tried to start off with a lot of honesty in our relationship as a good foundation, and working to ensure that we can go forward without any big surprises. And we can just get to know all the little quirks going forward rather than trying to find all the skeletons or being surprised by some of the skeletons.
Yeah, right on. Do you still do you guys still have talks for like an hour and a half?
We do. Yep.
Oh, right on. How do you do that?
Yeah, anytime that we feel like maybe the other person hasn't conducted themselves well, we'll try and bring that up in a loving way. Or if we realize that we've been doing something wrong, we'll try and share our heart and apologize and ask the other person maybe what they think we can do better in those situations to make them feel more loved. How we can, and if we do actually disagree on a way forward, we'll try and figure out a proper compromise. If she thinks I may have spoken too harshly, but I felt like it was more of an emergency situation where I had to speak in a harsh tone to get something across, we'll have that conversation. I'll realize I can tone it down a little bit, and she'll also realize that that's more of a cue to just listen up more at that moment when I'm trying to convey something. But we both have to make that compromise and be more self-aware in that moment.
Hey gang, you may or may not heard me talk about the journey I've been on since the new year, frankly, to kind of get my health under control. I joined a gym, which I love. I changed my diet quite a bit, but it turns out I wasn't getting enough fiber. Turns out fiber diversity supports a balanced gut microbiome, yet only 5% of Americans get enough fiber in their diet. That's why I started using a sugar to fiber probiotic mix every day. If only 5% of us get enough fiber in our diet, there's about 95% of us that don't. The PhD microbiologists over at ZBiotics understand, so they genetically engineered a probiotic drink mix called Sugar to Fiber. Sugar to Fiber turns sugar in the foods I eat into the prebiotic fiber called leaven fiber. It's really hard to get leave-in from a typical diet, and it helps to improve the amount and diversity of fiber my body receives. All I do is pour it into the water that I drink daily anyway, and I get enough fiber without needing to change my diet. I really like knowing that the fiber was coming from the sugar in the foods I was already eating. I'm clear that as I get older, I need to do 3 things. I gotta lift weights, I gotta stretch, and I gotta take care of my gut. That's why I'm adding ZBiotics Sugar to Fiber to my daily routine. Go to zbiotics.com/MTR and use MTR at checkout for 15% off any first-time orders of ZBiotics. So a great way to support your gut and Marriage Therapy Radio is to go to zbiotics.com/MTR and use MTR at checkout for 15% off any first-time orders of ZBiotics Probiotics. ZBiotics has a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Thank you to ZBiotics for sponsoring this episode, and let's get back to it. I heard you mention a little bit earlier that part of your story is a struggle with infertility. You don't want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah. So when we first got married, we really wanted to prioritize us and prioritize our relationship and, making sure that we were good and making sure that we would get a house and that we would get a nice little nest egg. And so we thought we would pause all of that. And everybody that I spoke to, no one really had any good suggestions on how to do that. So we did birth control. And I had a really bad reaction to it, but we just persevered through that. And about 2 years, doing that for about 2 years, we decided now it's time to start having a family.
Yeah.
And then once we started trying to have a family, we didn't really think anything of it. My mindset was, well, let the chips fall where they may. I don't really know where I got that phrase from, but I thought, you know what, let it be what it is, and we're not going to try that hard. And then after 6 to 12 months of that, I thought, gosh, I thought this was going to be so much easier.
Right.
I know when we were younger, they always told you can get pregnant like that. So be careful. And they almost put you on edge. Like if you can get pregnant every day of the month. It's absolutely crazy. And then when you get older and you start learning about it, you realize there's only one day of the month you can get pregnant, and that's it. And so that started making me think that there's something wrong. And so I started going to the doctor, and we went to the doctor and running some tests. And 2 years after running some tests, the doctor basically said to us, I still don't know what's wrong with you. So they gave me the diagnosis of unexplained infertility. They did give me some medication for thyroid. The doctor said sometimes the thyroid is the problem and yours is a little off, so we're just going to give you medication, see what that does. It did nothing. And so we did a couple of things, and none of them seemed to work. And then after 2 years, the doctor recommended a couple of options that were invasive, expensive, and seemed really out of line for an answer of, I don't know. And so that kind of really got us to the point where we didn't know what to do, because we were heartbroken at that point. We were now married for 4 years. And we struggled for 2 years to have a baby. And we were in a place of work where at that time we were working really hard on our jobs, and we were just so confused as to what was going on. And so I remember that being a pivotal moment of we had to figure out what was going on, because it was just so much stress. And then it just kind of evolved from there, where we realized we needed to focus on doing this together as a team, because we weren't really doing that. The doctors were mostly focused on me, and they said he's fine. So a lot of it was about me. So I felt overwhelmed doing it by myself. And so we had, again, one of those hard conversations where we found ourselves sitting at the dining room table saying, what are we going to do? This is just all too much. And rather than allow it to break our relationship, we said we're going to focus on our relationship and then try to do this together. And that's what happened. We started exploring other options. We started exploring functional health and started exploring holistic approaches. And now we're with a homeopathic provider.
So you said, I think I saw it's been now 7 years since that journey started.
Yeah, it's been 7 years since we started. And there's been a lot of ups and downs during that fertility, during the early on in the trying to figure out what was going on. And two things that I credit to our longevity with staying hopeful and staying resilient to this is our relationship with the Lord and our relationship with each other. We really had to prioritize what the Lord said over what the doctors were saying.
Yeah.
And we also had to prioritize what we wanted in our family and our relationship over what they said. And so if we were uncomfortable with something, we discussed it with one another. And if one of us didn't want to proceed, so for example, with IVF and IUI, those are common things that the doctors recommend. And we weren't comfortable doing that. And so if we're not comfortable doing that, then we had to find other avenues, and we had to work harder together as a team and trust in the Lord more to navigate where to go next. And that's what led us to what we're doing now. We're with a homeopathic provider, and we've been with them for a little over a year. And we've seen a lot of great progress to the point where I'm no longer on thyroid medication. I'm no longer experiencing the same symptoms that I was before. And a lot of my symptoms that I was experiencing before have gone away. And our overall health has improved. And so all of those things wouldn't have happened had we not gone down this road.
That's a lot. I'm sorry that you guys have not been able to have more success, except for the fact, of course, that you've drawn nearer to one another. That's a success of its own sort.
Yeah, definitely.
I have two daughters. They're 22 and 18 at this point. We were not able to we had infertility challenges with both of them. So I understand that moment a little bit. It wasn't 7 years, but it's painful every single month to have this experience of hope that gets dashed, and then how do you pick it back up again? And I appreciate that you have a strong sense of your own faith. How do you articulate that being sustaining for you? Like, what does it mean for you to hear from the Lord, or to rely on your faith as part of this journey that includes a bunch of grief? I'm interested to know how you explain it to yourselves, to each other, to the world who is listening to this podcast. Like, how do you make sense of that for?
Yeah, it's really challenging. And just first off, I think when we were praying early on, when we first got married and we were praying early on, we heard his voice louder telling us the direction to go, and that he did tell us we will have children. And he did tell us that he was going to make a way, and that we will eventually get there. And so I think having that promise for us kind of helped us hold on to hope. And so each month over the last 7 years has had its own challenges, and some months are harder than others, especially going through fertility treatments. But I think as we go through each step, we talk about it with one another, and as we're praying, we feel whether or not we're comfortable with that step. And if we're comfortable with that step, that's how I believe that we feel like the Lord is leading us that direction. And if we are uncomfortable with that step for one reason or another, we have a conversation about why we're uncomfortable. And then we decide, is it us that doesn't want to do it? Or is it something that we feel like the Lord doesn't want us to go that way? Because we never want to do anything out of fear. I don't want to do this procedure because I'm afraid that something else won't happen. Or I don't want to just listen to the doctor and not ask questions because I'm afraid of something. So we didn't want fear to drive us. We wanted it to be faith, and a combination of the faith and then the wisdom that God was giving us. And so every time we got to a point where we had to have a crossroad of what we were going to do, we prayed together and made sure that both of us were comfortable, and that we both felt peace about it. God would give us peace about what to do next. And I think because we had that good communication, we started working well as a team. We started putting better boundaries with other people, where we weren't listening to other people and their opinions about what they wanted for us.
That was an important one. Yeah.
We had to just figure out what we wanted. And I think that really helped us hear from the Lord a lot better than if we just listened to what everybody else was saying.
Okay, now I have a totally separate question because I'm just fascinated. And I ask this a lot when people speak the way that you do. But what does God's voice sound like?
It can.
Is it a deep booming voice? Is it the voice of is it your own voice? Is it the voice of wind in the air? Like when you talked about, we heard him say, like, what is it? What is the sound of it?
It's almost like intuition. Kind of like, just a feeling, an unction, a guidance, one way or another. And the more you get to know God's character, the more you get to know who he is and what he wants, what he's said before, the more your that feeling is in line with it, the more clearly it is. Sometimes it's a very stark feeling like, no, you should not do that. Turn away now. Yeah. And you can either listen to it or ignore it. But for me, that's what it is. It's a strong feeling, a strong unction to.
But you heard
good one way or the
you are going to have children.
Yes, and so I got that in a couple of different ways. So I'm a very big dreamer.
Okay.
And so I dream a lot.
Okay.
And because of the field that I'm in, I can separate the difference between dreams that are my subconscious popping up, as well as it's just something that I watched the day before. But
leftover TV show or something.
Leftover TV shows. Yeah. So I was praying for God to reveal it to us, to speak to us. And I was also praying again, this was early on, praying for dreams. Like, give me a dream, give me signs, give me something. And so I explicitly got dreams. I got dreams about it. Another time when I was praying, and just praying and really seeking God's voice and saying, tell me where we're going. It's again, something like Edmund said, I felt it in my spirit. And sometimes when you kind of feel like this unction that says, this is what I want you to do. And so sometimes when I get that, it might sound like thoughts, and then I'll start journaling what I feel like it is. And then through the journaling, I feel like he's speaking to me. And then that's another way where he showed me that I was going to have that. And then through confirmation, through other people who have said, God spoke to me. And the only reason why we listened to those other people was because he said exactly the same thing, word for word. That was in my dream and in my journal.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, how do you, that's amazing. How do you, 7 years, surely you've run up against hope dashed or hope deferred.
Hope fatigue,
Yeah.
How do you keep from getting angry? How do you keep from getting despairing? Or maybe you have, maybe you have had those moments. And what are those like for you?
Awful.
Yeah.
So we have had those moments. Do you want to share yours?
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes we just have to let it run its course. And then while we're in that moment, we are there to encourage each other, there to help guide each other through it, as well as listen to the Lord and lean on him for a little bit of relief. But like when I'm going through that anger phase or that hope fatigue phase, Brenna will come alongside me and just encourage me, remind me of the victories that we've had, tell me about the positive things that have happened, and as well as other stories about other people that have gone through long-term infertility challenges and ended up on the other end with a baby. So I think that when we go through that stuff, we just come together and we are there to support each other. We're there to encourage each other and try and help pull the other one out. But also realizing that it is important to acknowledge the emotion that you're going through and not just shove it down, because I've always been a big shover.
Yeah.
I have a big old box with all of my emotions right in here.
Yeah. So when does it come out?
When
How
I get
does it come out?
Yeah, when I get pushed past that that threshold of
what do you
hope.
Do you throw plates, or do you scream into a pillow, or do you
No,
go for a
because then
long
we need
run?
to buy new plates.
I know, right? Thankfully, I've never been like a big outburst person. I usually, personally, I retract. I'm very much an introvert, so I recharge by being alone, and I just retract. I'll let her know that I just need more time alone right now, and she allows that. She'll give it to me, and I appreciate that so much. But I'll pull back into some of my hobbies and or just read or something, and spend more time by myself to work through my own thoughts, through my own feelings. And when I'm ready to share and lean on her, she's there for me, and I can just open up to her. So that's how I deal with it. And thankfully it doesn't come out in big outbursts. I think sometimes I've been a little snarky with Brenna. But she she helps me catch that, and thankfully helps me correct that too.
Yeah, and for me, with those really big emotions, I've had a lot of those, especially like you said, for a woman, it repeats every 30 to 40 days, however long the cycle is, and you're working on it. So we have this very big flashing light that says, you're starting over again.
Yeah. Well, and you have it first before he even knows. Like, so you've got a day or an hour or whatever where you're sitting there with this information that you now have to assimilate and share.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do, different moments, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll have the different depths of grief and sadness and anger. And exactly what he said, the thing that we've learned that helps the most, and this is something that I even tell all my clients, is that you need to go through it. You need to recognize what it is, validate it, and allow yourself to process and go through it, and not just bury it. So he says he buries it for the moment so that he can get through some things, and then he allows himself to process it. And so at some point in time, allow yourself to process those emotions. And the way that I do that through the grief and the sadness is sometimes I'll take either a couple of hours, or depending on how deep it is, I might take a mental health day to just allow my body to rest, my mind to rest. I will journal. I will do some yoga. I make sure that's the day that I'm drinking plenty of water and I'm eating, and I'm allowing any emotions that I'm feeling to just come out, and allow myself to cry, or allow myself to get upset. And I think because we know that there is an end at some point in time, I think that's what allows us to view them as phases of grief, and that this is a cycle, and that when we fall, there is a way to pull ourselves back up to be able to continue to move forward.
Yeah. And I'm also very blessed with Brenna being as a psychologist, that she can just walk me through
a little bit
the
of
process.
The process. I want to ask you a question you don't have to answer, and if you don't want to answer it in the public forum, we can edit it out. But I'm interested in like what sex is like, because I always say, and this was our experience, that who hate sex is people who are like trying to make sure they have the right amount of sex at the right time, and I'm ovulating, and it's the thing, and we got to go, and are you ready? And how do you navigate that? I mean, how do you make that work for the two of you, given, again, you've got sort of 7 years of experience? I'm interested in just to hear how that works for you, or how you psychologically and emotionally are setting yourselves up for that.
Yeah, if we're not deliberate about not making it a chore, it definitely becomes a chore. And we've had to work to be more spontaneous. Even during those times, like we know that we have to do it at this time, we'll try and do it in a more romantic way that gets us both excited about the event, rather than just like dreading it again. Like, okay, let's just go do it.
Yeah.
So it's been a more deliberate spontaneity in a way, where we try and still
deliberate spontaneity. That's amazing.
Spice it up in a way.
Trademark.
It's evolved into that, right? Trademark.
Yeah.
It's evolved into that, because early on it was really about that when we started learning about it. So the first year when we were trying to figure it out, I didn't even know what that window was. So we were messing it up all the time. And then once we learned it, then it became the regimented thing. And then we realized that sucks, because this is not fun. This is just so stressful. I don't even want to do anything anymore, because it ends up being on the schedule. And so the way that it's evolved to now is we realize the way that he said the spontaneity is, we know what the window is. And then that's just the kind of idea of, okay, here's the window. It has to happen sometime during this time. So let's figure out what to do during this time. And then we also kind of take the pressure off. Some months we take the pressure off of, it doesn't have to be that day. And then other times we have moments of, if it is that day, how are we feeling at that moment? We kind of have the question of, if we're not feeling it in that moment, do we want to just do quickie because it needs to happen, because it's not going to happen unless you do it? Or do we want to just say, we did the best that we could this month. We're not feeling well. It is what it is. And so I think we really take it month to month, how are we feeling? And the other thing that helps is we don't just have sex on our ovulation time.
Mhm.
We make sure you have it throughout the month, before, after,
Oh, yeah,
to make
gotcha.
sure that it's not just about the baby.
Yeah.
During the ovulation window, most of the time it is.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, we do things to make sure that
You maintain that proper marriage.
you don't just
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it that 3 days of the month, because
Yeah.
then that's not fun. So making
well-
sure that it's more than just about that.
Yeah, I mean, I spend time with clients all the time who have different versions of struggling or navigating their sex life, and one of the questions that we have to ask a lot is like, what is it for? Like,
Mhm.
what's it for? So
Yeah.
maybe during the ovulation window, it's for pregnancy, it's for implantation,
Mhm.
it's for, but maybe outside of that, it's for nurturing or reconnection or pleasure,
Yeah.
even like so. But I think a lot of times people hop into bed and they don't agree what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point.
Is it for him? Is it for her? Is it for exercise? Is it for pleasure? Is it for orgasm? Is it for pregnancy? Like, if the two of you aren't clear about that together. So I like that you are able to differentiate. You sort of go, hey, in this window, it's for this. And outside of this window, we still need to prioritize it so that it's not strictly about, truly, I mean, an other person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some other person when
Yeah.
you're trying to get pregnant is,
Yeah.
that's harder to be present for each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to ask another question on behalf of people who are thinking through infertility challenges, which is, given that your confidence that you're to have children, that you've heard this from the Lord, and how you've made sense of that, where does adoption fit into your consideration process? Like, have you navigated those waters? Have you scratched it off the list? Is it something that you've put in parallel? Like, how does that work for you? Or how do you think about that?
Well, we don't really feel like it's the right path for us right now.
Okay.
We still feel led to work to have a biological child.
Yeah.
But it's not completely off the list. Like, if we're led in that direction, then we'll definitely pursue it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also partly because we're still, as we've been going down this path, we've noticed that there are health issues that have been blocking fertility. And as we recognize that there are health issues, then the priority shifts a bit, because now I actually want to get healthy. It's not just about bringing a baby into the world.
Yeah.
It's I want to feel healthy. I want to not be cold all the time. I want to not be fatigued all the time. I want to be really healthy, because at the end of the day, that's not the end goal, is to have a baby. It's to have
Yeah.
a family that's flourishing. So I don't want to push my body, and he doesn't want to push his body to the point of we finally got to the end, and then you just realize, great, now you just started another chapter and we're exhausted. And so we're also prioritizing our health at the same time. And so I think that's partly why it's not off the table, but it's just to the side for right now.
Yeah. No, but so I actually really appreciate the notion of, like, priority one is to be healthy, to get
Yeah.
healthy, and then to let whatever happens inside of your world be subject to that health.
Yeah.
Versus, we're chasing the outcome so much that it comes at a cost that we don't want to pay,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
our bodies, to our wallets, to our energy, to our
Yeah.
spirit, whatever it is. So, man, that's really cool. So what's next for you guys? What's on there? What's where you at in your process? Or you just, man, well, it's ovulation time, so we're gonna hang up and go. But like, when you think about the next thing on your horizon, what is it?
So I'm actually super excited with the next thing in our health journey, or just our life in
In
general.
your life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with our life, our next steps is we're really excited about sharing this journey with other people. And so over the last, 6 months or so, we started opening up and sharing more with people, probably a little bit longer than that. And we really felt led to share some of the success that we've had with our relationship with other people. And so we started speaking more. We started offering monthly webinars, and we started really working to help other couples who are going through this journey, going through infertility, to prioritize their marriage, because that's something that is completely within their control. They can't control the outcome of having a baby. They can do a lot of steps, But one thing that we saw on our journey while we've been talking to other couples is many couples would neglect their relationship. And we've spoken to a couple of couples who ended up separating and getting divorced because
Sure.
of the pressure was so much.
Yeah, we felt
And we
that.
realized this is something that needs to be addressed. We need to be able to encourage these couples, and we felt led in that direction to encourage these couples to start focusing on your relationship, start communicating better, and start working on that foundation so that when you have your family, you're not going to have to fix all of the things that you broke trying to have the family. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're really excited about for next steps for us as we are continuing to work on growing our family
Yeah.
and improve our health. We can also come alongside other couples to help encourage them to kind of borrow our resilience and our excitement and share that there is a path forward, that you don't have to struggle that whole time.
Right on. So if I'm listening and I'm interested in participating with you in some of that journey, sharing that journey, how do I find you? What's the next step for me?
Yeah, so you can check out our website, encourageandempowerwellness.com, or you can also
encourageandempowerwellness.com.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I speak rather quickly sometimes.
That's
I am
okay.
from Miami.
That's okay. From Miami.
encourageandempowerwellness.com,
Yeah.
or on Instagram at Dr. Brenna Squires. And then if you are professional and you also want to reach out to me, I also consult with nurse practitioners and doctors and psychiatrists and counselors. If you want to reach out to me and see how I can help your clients, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Brenna Squires.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you reached out to Marriage Therapy Radio, and I'm glad that you guys came and just were willing to share a little bit of your personal story. It's been really cool. I've been doing these interviews for about a month now, and I learn something new every time. And I'm gonna spend time thinking about deliberate spontaneity.
We gotta catchphrase that.
I know, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean,
Trademark it.
there's some value in it, right? Like, I think people say all the time, "Oh, I want it to be spontaneous," and I'm like, "Okay, but it's not." So what are you going to do? You got to create some intention around it. So I applaud that for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we do that a lot in a couple of different things. We'll do like a spontaneous a trip where we're saying we're going to go to another city for the weekend, and that's the deliberate. And then whatever happens. So we'll stop wherever we want and do things whatever we want. And so
there you go. Good. Well, thanks again for spending time with us, and I'm looking forward to sharing your story with our folks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you
a
for
pleasure.
having us.
Thank you again to Dr. Brenna Squires and her husband, Edmund Squires. You know, infertility is a tough one. There are more people out there struggling than you think. If you're looking for support, you can find her anyway at Dr. Brenna Squires on Instagram. Lots of cool resources there. And I think it's just good to feel like you're not alone. Rebecca and I struggled with infertility as we were trying to get pregnant with both of our daughters. And I know we would have really benefited from having just some additional language and a community and some support around that. We feel really fortunate for the friends that we had, but man, did we struggle for a while just to figure out how to stay sane in the midst of what obviously is quite easy for some people. I hope that you will check out Brenna's resources. And even if you don't, I'll thank you for the time and attention you put into making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.